I'd like to go into an area up until now I was too afraid, not the right word, or maybe concerned to enter because of repercussions like, well, actually afraid to a degree. I mean, I'm not afraid to die, but this COVID and what it really is, and the COVID vaccine are deadly, and it's like a wheel, like a spike bicycle wheel with the spokes. It is since it's evil, and it's part of the mystery of iniquity, because all those evil mysteries of iniquity, think the word mystery. Well, mysteries are generally complicated. They are, oh, hello, a little more. They are a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an enigma. A quote from Winston Churchill, 1939. So mysteries of it that are associated with mysteries of evil or iniquity. Iniquity is another word for sin. The mysteries of sin are so complicated, each and every one, and yet they're interrelated too, interconnected, but they're akin to a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an enigma. And I love that line. I mean, I love that phrase. I just got to commit it to memory, so I have to keep looking down to read it. So, excuse me, today I want to tackle the big deal. I'm going to take it's. I think we people like me can bring it up and not get chopped off. You at least chopped off YouTube. A few years back, I was afraid I'd simply be killed, and I wouldn't have taught about this publicly, which I'm doing right now. So the topic is two things. It's the COVID shot, what's in it, and the spiritual results of taking the shot based on the fact that it has an RNA and a DNA change in it, changing the recipient of the shot from fully human into a hybrid creature. And what all that means. It's important, terribly important. So I'll begin now. Back in 2019, around Christmas time, I was hearing these rumors from certain already ostracized doctors and immunologists that there was a DNA and RNA change thing happening in these shots, COVID shots, and that the shots themselves were even actually bioweapons, not cures, and not just some, not a cure like you would think a vaccine or a vaccine shot would be. No. Just the opposite. Kill you. The vaccine was meant to kill you. Maybe not right away. Well, for the most part, not right away. But there's a lot of people, especially in foreign countries, like India, China, where they're overpopulated, and life is even cheaper there than it is, in the United States. But for the main part, you could take a shot, and for the majority, and you could go home, and there would be very few. Maybe you'd get flu-like symptoms, but it didn't put you in the hospital, and it didn't kill you. But I have videos that you get off special You can't put things on YouTube, and here I am talking. I think well, let's see, I'm already jumping around. A lot of spokes on this, guys. A lot of things connected to the shot and to the infection of COVID and the uh, and what they call the vaccination. Let me lay out some things about that, and because there's another item I want to bring into this. It's very, very apropos and germane, uh, applicable to Christianity. The COVID has been released into the public to live in our system as a time bomb. Now, some get some get killed over taking this. You get murdered right on the spot while they're sitting out in the room drinking orange juice because they just received a vaccination, COVID vaccination. They drop over dead in the chairs, mainly in other countries. And remember, the media across the world's compromised. They are the enemy within. They are what used to be called during the Second World War the fifth column. Fifth column is just simply citizen enemies from within. For whatever reason, they're enemies of their own country. It's ideological, but it also could be blackmail. Very effective for getting people to do what you want them to do, no matter what their core values say. Few people can resist a good blackmail threat. Others are greedy and they'll take a bribe, a big one, and a blackmail. Sometimes you have to, force people to do things by adding a couple of things together, and then you always have, if it's severe enough, you always have the threat of death if you don't either shut up and desist, or maybe you must then open up and you must lie for them. That is certainly the mainstream media, all of our news reporters. Now, local news reporters, some of them have a brain. The older ones, they know what's going on. And they have a career. They have mortgages to pay. And so they go along to get along. But that's not patriotism, and they are actually traitors being bought off either through a threat or through money, or a combination of both. So you never get the truth. Again, because this is complicated, like spoke with many connections to it, like spokes of a wheel, and behind me again. It's hard for me to restrict it because, well, let me continue with the shot. I have videos here that I might attach that show people, somebody's called dying right on the spot. Some people at a train station waiting for a train. And these attacks are sudden, and they seem to be always fatal. And some of these people go down in the exact same way. They're as healthy and happy as I am. Then suddenly, as you watch the video, they start to look over their shoulder. And then they'll raise their hand. Let me move so you can see me. Raise their hand and maybe swat, and they keep turning. They'll do a 360. Or if they fall down. When they fall down, they do a few, spaz shakes, and then they get immediate rigor mortis, or rigor, not mortis, rigor. Because they're not, well, rigor mortis, I could say rigor mortis because I think they're already dead. But the body stiffens up. their co-workers run over and they pick them up. That's like picking up a mannequin. And 30 seconds earlier, they were just whistling tunes and being happy. Now they're, dead statues laying on the ground in whatever position they finally took. And, excuse me. And overseas, there's probably dozens of photographs or videos of people on the street seeing this, recording it with their camera or their phone cameras, and putting it online. And so many of you have already taken the shot. I haven't. But now we come into the spiritual, a different part of the spiritual end of it. Satan hates humanity. Satan and the angels, fallen angels, got a real thing for God's creation. They want to destroy it, and they want to invent their own creation. However, only God can create. Only God can make something out of nothing. What angels do is they take existing material and they change it. So God creates angels, fallen angels in that make. I can't create a birdhouse, but I can make one. I mean, if I created a birdhouse, maybe I could pop it into existence with a blink of an eye. But if I did it the other way, I would have to first create wood, nails or glue, and things like that. So Satan and the fallen ones, including demons, they hate humanity. They hate God's creation, including the beautiful birds. All through the Bible, but especially in a non-canonical book called Enoch. Now, there's only one book of Enoch. Let me warn you right now. People say there's 3 books. I've read all 3, and 2 of them, Enoch 1 is the true Enoch. I don't know if he's for sure. He's probably the actual author because it's a narration. But Enoch 2 and 3 are spurious. Don't bother with Enoch 2 or Enoch 3. Right now, as far as I've come in my research, I haven't come after it, so I came across this crazy Judaism sect believe in some sort of a being instead of Jehovah. They're making a big to-do out of a creature that came out. It was fabrication in Enoch 2 and then more so in Enoch 3 called, it's a Tron name, Megatron. Doesn't that sounds something out pretty modern, huh? Megatron. And the way they write, it's an impressive read for fiction. But these Jewish people have gone for it big time. And they build a whole sub-religion out of that. Jewish people have a great, I can't say a great many, but maybe a great many, or certainly many, fabricated, imaginary religions. And I see a thing on my shirt here. Come on, get off there, you. I moved it. Hey, okay. These are my glasses here. Anyway, getting back to, I just wanted to tell you, behind all this wanting to kill humanity, well, see, that's the Illuminati. They're the 4-star generals under Satan himself is the Illuminati. The 1-star, 2-star generals, under them, the Illuminati is the Roman Catholic Church, Islam, and Freemasonry. And but this is in my humble opinion. Okay, I'll preface that with that. But I'm saying it, and so I'll preface it. But it doesn't. I don't have any doubts myself. But do I have proof? the proof would take 2 thick books to, it would take a small collection of books to explain all the complicated interconnections between Roman Catholicism, Islam, and Freemasonry. And by the way, Catholics don't know these things. Masons don't know these things. It's at the very, very top. Catholics are good people. Jews are good people. Mason, oh, I said Masons, and Islam. Islam has a very strong family core, but at the top, or not quite that divided for Islam, middle Islam too, and lower Islam has their religious homicidal maniacs. Catholic Roman Church used to have them. They still do, but they don't kill anymore. Is within the Roman Catholicism is the Jesuits. Oh, wait. I'm going to devote one whole video to holding up or reading to you. I can't reverse yet. I'm learning. I think I have my pause problem fixed, by the way, because I'm going to pause. If I have to pause this, I will. I don't know why the first couple times I paused one of my videos and then I resumed. Everything from that moment on in the video was out of sync. In other words, the audio and the visual are out of synchronization. I might have to pause this just to cough. I'd rather not, but I might have to. Okay, I lost my place. You know, the mystery of iniquity, or the mystery of sin, it's so complicated. It is very hard for me to explain things without bringing in a lot of spokes, or AKA loose strings, or attached strings to whatever this is I'm speaking of. And that's a pretty applicable picture of what's happening, of these conspiracies. Oh, the whole world is a conspiracy. Don't be ashamed to be called a conspiracy theorist, because they're getting to be no theory. Okay, they're becoming conspiracy facts, because we understand them now. We're seeing more into them. God has blessed me with seeing, seems like He singled me out. I don't know how many. I haven't seen anybody else come up with what is truth and who killed Kennedy and why. JFK. I know he told me, but it'll soon be out. I'm not trying to profit in any way, either through money or fame or whatever. You know, pride for these things, insights God has given me with the definition of truth and who killed Kennedy and why. And now I'm talking to you today about the COVID conspiracy. And I want to bring something up as well. And I'm only 19 minutes into this, so we'll leave that. Oh, yeah. I'm going to continue on the COVID a little bit further. I think I mentioned this in another video, but it was just put in as a string attached to what I was talking about at the time. Now I want to give it head on. It'll be its own hub, okay? This thing, I'm going to bend my hand this way. That's much easier. Okay, looking at the hub, which is representative of the conspiracy. The spokes, again, represent all the strings attached to that conspiracy. In other words, how it happened. Sometimes we used to refer to the mechanics of an operation. how this moves and how they, all come together like a machine, like a watch. And so let's continue. Building upon the premise, this is certain. And then when I get to where I'm not certain, I'll say in my humble opinion, or I'll preface it with something like that. Okay, here's a fact. Christ died for humanity. Christ is our kinsman redeemer. He's our kin. He's not the kin of the fallen angels or angels, any angels. He's not the kin of demons. He's not the kin of puppies and kittens and the animals of the world. He's the kinsman of you, human being, and Ken, the human being, also. Well, what Satan has been doing even before Adam was actually made. Now, God could create Adam. It's often referred to as him being created, but in my humble opinion, I think creation is done. And so everything God has done after the moment of creation, or when creation was closed, God made things out of existing material. Okay. I don't know why. I mean, and again, preface, it seems to me that this Satan and this evil thing is a cosmic size theater. Who said all the world's a theater? I think it was Shakespeare. Well, I don't think he knew what I'm saying here, but it does seem to, on a smaller scale, yeah, I think there's something in what he said. But all the universe is a theater to show all the creatures of the theater. That God tied both hands behind his back when Satan popped and sin came into the universe. He decided he would show Satan, who challenged him, certainly wanted to replace him, that he could tie both hands behind himself and beat the snot out of even Satan. And he's doing it through the first coming and the second coming, and through the church. Yeah, okay, and I don't want to go into any more tangents. So, and it's a small point. Let's say I'm wrong to even say God made Adam and Eve, because Adam came out of the dust, Eve came out of Adam's rib, existing material. And Lucifer is simply, and his hordes are simply stuck because they can't create. Never could, never will be able to. They can just make, like I can make, as I said earlier, a birdhouse. I didn't make the wood, I didn't make the nails, I didn't make the iron that went into the nails. Do you understand? Anyway, all through history, and even prior biblical history, you have to go to books like Enoch 1. I'll say 1, like there's other books. No, there isn't. But let me specify, because it's a bit confusing. You pick up the book of Enoch, make sure it's the book of Enoch 1. It may not have Enoch 1 on it. Just don't pick up 2 or 3 of Enoch books, like 1, 2, or 3. Pick up the book of Enoch. Not canonical, but it lays out what the fallen angels were doing behind humanity's back and in front of humanity. And because of the mystery of iniquity, they managed to eliminate all that. Not from the Word of God, but from the accompanying books like Enoch. Enoch got pushed back. That book got pushed back into oblivion. A lot of people, I would imagine, have gone through seminary and heard about the book of Enoch, but it was never required reading or studied. And that book of Enoch is telling us the strategies of Lucifer, especially with humanity and this earth, a lot more in depth, 1,000 times more in depth than we could ferret out of the Bible. It's in the Bible, but it's here, there, it's sprinkled all over. And you have to recognize its additional information about how the plans and the schemes and the workings of Lucifer, Satan, and evil. To put it all together, that's just read Enoch and you'll get 90%, real quick. And getting back to the shot was meant to kill humanity. Remember, the Illuminati is probably not, they've got to be hybrids. Okay. They've had DNA, probably Nephilim. Now, Nephilim are the offspring of the 200 watcher angels who decided sinfully they were going to, they got hot for these pretty young human women. And so they went, I think it's in Jude, they left their first estate, which means their spiritual estate, and their state of being perfect and sinless, to chase after these women for a number of reasons. One, they wanted the sex, and then they wanted offspring. They wanted to have children. And so it worked out in Genesis 6, verses 1 through 4, that these angels, and I believe they were AKA the 200 watchers. I won't explain what that means here because it'll tie things up longer. I will soon, not right now. These 200 angels slept with these women, and these women had children, and they were giants. So when you read in Genesis chapter 6, 1 through 4, you're going to hear the word giant. But I do believe, though I don't read Hebrew, I read Greek, that giants is translated in Hebrew to Nephilim. And that's the term you'll hear a lot today, because we're getting wise. The Lord told David back in, Daniel back in Daniel 12:4 that knowledge will increase. Well, suddenly we rediscovered the book of Enoch. Very applicable to what's happening right now. The change of humanity. It's in the COVID shots, boys and girls. Okay? Does every shot have a RNA DNA change in it? I would guess, since that's one of the major purposes besides killing us, yeah, it would be in the vast majority. If you got the shot, boys and girls, you're in trouble. If you were already saved, truly born again, that shot and 1,000 more mean nothing to you. Okay, you're already saved. Nothing beats the rebirth. You get born again, you can't sin your way out of heaven. You take the shot, I don't know if the Lord would allow, supernaturally would stop any kind of DNA change, no matter what chemistry they put in us, in you, the saved person, through a hypodermic. So don't sweat it if you're born again, but do sweat having your children receive a shot that has a DNA change in it. That's what really made me angry at Katie Couric on the Today Show. And don't forget, get your children vaccinated for COVID. Yeah, you could bet she didn't get her kids vaccinated with COVID. So there's blood on that woman's hands. Her and Hoda. Pretty, entertaining, charming, murdering sons of bitches. Forgive my profanity. They are evil, and they'll get away with it until only God can settle it up. But there's a score of girls, Katie Couric. There's no, it's not Katie Couric. Savannah Guthrie. Yeah, the two present, and for the last half a decade, women that host the Today Show every morning on NBC at 7 a.m. Okay, Eastern Standard Time. So, getting back to the mystery of iniquity, Satan's trying to kill us through chemistry, and that's first infecting us with this bioweapon called COVID, and then infecting us again with the vaccine, COVID vaccine, and then infecting us again from whatever's falling out of those chemtrails. You can't look up any. They're going away now. You know why? And also, you know why I'm making this bold move, and I'm talking about something I was afraid a few years ago that they would kill me for talking about. Especially at the level, I've got a pretty high level of information here, maybe very high for an outsider. Why? How'd I get it? God's telling me things. He's doing the math work. God's doing the sleuth and the systematic deductive reasoning for me, and then telling me and showing me how it all fits together. Oh, he is doing that too. I'm more than just a... He's blessed me with being more than just saying things I don't understand. He's given me the understanding as well. And believe me, that makes me wonder about how special am I? I might be super special. I don't know. It's still the same old, fat older man that never earned a degree in any kind of a college education. I'm a high school educated person. Well, formally. I've gone to, like a junior college and things, but I'm not the kind of student that could sit down and watch someone try to teach me who really basically is just going through the actions. One of the reasons I think I am a good teacher, is I've learned, and I've had to, take the complex for myself and make it easier to understand. That's the trick, I think, and the goal of every good teacher. They take the complicated and make it simple when they teach it. And when you're a teacher and you're see, I'm not part of academia proper, so there's certain terms that I don't hear often and I can't come up with, but tenure. You got tenure, what do you care? You just give me that paycheck, I'll show up, and I'll daydream while I'm telling you everything I've been saying verbatim in every class for the last decade. I can do it by heart. Well, that's not a teacher. That's a Paul Parrot. That's a recording. And may the Lord help the students that sit in front of these kind of people. But they're everywhere. Including, now in high school today, nobody's learning anything. Special students who come from intelligent parents who knows the value of an education and a very lubricated and quick mind, they steer their kids into taking calculus and physics in high school. The rest of them just trying to get through it. High school, the rest of the kids. All right, off on a rabbit trail or a spoke that doesn't belong there. And that's me all over. So what am I saying? The mystery of iniquity is the COVID shot, chemtrails. Now let's come in, and also the very fact that certain books, not of the Bible, but certain companion books of the Bible, like Enoch, have been systematically put in the closet away from us and not taught even in seminaries. And yet the book of Enoch, what the general sense of what's happening, which is the angels getting into humanity, not just for sex, but to screw humanity up. Why? Because Christ is our kinsman redeemer. Okay, let's say you're a 40-year-old person and you've never come to Christ, you've always been an agnostic, never raised in a Catholic or Protestant or Orthodox home, so you've never been around that sort of thing. No chance of you subtly becoming to Christ. No chance at all, but as unsaved as you can be. Nice person, unsaved, way unsaved. You're 40 years old. You go out, get this COVID shot, and you get a DNA change. See, now you're not a perfect human. You're a hybrid. Well, now this is where the question come in, and I saw it right away, and I went to 2 local pretty good sized churches. They wouldn't let me see the pastor, and because after they told him what I was trying to talk about, they blocked me. They kicked me out. They would never answer my phone calls. That's one of the problems when you call people. They show who's calling, and they won't answer. And they wouldn't answer emails. But my question was this, as I pose it to you right now. I don't know this answer, but I must say, in my humble opinion, I have this opinion. But the question is, if you're not saved and you're not under the protection of the rebirth and born again, and you get a DNA change accidentally, I mean through stupidity or on purpose, are you then qualified for salvation? What's the qualification to be saved? You must be a human being, not a hybrid. Okay? So are those people permanently lost? I'd have to say yes, but I can't say it categorically. I have to say in my humble opinion. But see, this needed talked about because it was just starting in 2019 when I brought this to these 2 churches up here. One was, I'm going to use names because they deserve it. One was named Victory Church here on Route 19 in northern Pittsburgh. Big new church. I'm sure with a big new mortgage. A young pastor. I went up there one time to talk to him about it. Whoever was speaking, I ran into, it was speaking for the church. It wasn't at a desk. It was in the hallway. They weren't having a service, so just some guy that's that's pretty big. Well, someone you could say is a deacon in a church. Although he didn't use that term, but he implied that's what pretty much his level. He says, well, the pastor's not here. I says, well, when will he be back? He says, well, he's on a 6-week vacation. And I thought, wait a minute. Now, this is back in 2019. I believe we were getting awfully close. There was a little scare, rumor of a war with Russia around that time. I'm giving this to you off the top of my head. But I hold that church. I went back again to that church to talk. This time Satan had me intercepted by a fellow there, if I remember his name correctly, because I can give the first name. I don't know his last name, and I would give his last name. But what was his first? I can't remember. Maybe it's best I don't. He was a tall fella, my age. And since I don't have any credentials, normal credentials, I told him, I says, I need to talk, or you people need to talk about this. And I told him what it was. Not a change in his face. I might have been saying, well, what do you think about the difference between an apple and an orange? He could care less. And it became, excuse me, I'm going to use a little profanity here, but he took me right into a pissing contest. This foolish person. And I told him, I was giving him my credentials by saying I'm a vet. Well, he's a vet too, of the Navy. Okay, we're both the same age, give or take a year. And I was trying to say things like, I've studied a lot and things. I wrote a book. But every time I said something like that, he tried to parry me. So it became a pissing contest, and it was just ruined. And I says, would you at least take this to your pastor and tell him you spoke with me, and I'd like to explain him the terrible danger the world, but especially his parishioners, his own congregation, Protestant congregation, evangelical congregation would be in, potentially, if I'm right about and what they're saying, they're right about this shot having a DNA change. Now, like I said, this is back in 2019. And I went up to another, well, they blocked me. At what price, though? See, if you have a baby or a 3-year-old and you're so stupid as to get a shot, a vaccine for those little guys that haven't been tested, you just, Ronnie the robot, yes, oh, that sounds like a good idea. I'll just go right to my doctors and who are too happy. See, they're closing a blind eye because their God is medicine and science. If their God, medicine and science says, oh, you need this vaccine. Oh, it's good. It won't hurt you. Well, it's like God coming down to them and saying it to their face. Take the shot. You have my guarantee. As small G-O-D, you have my guarantee that it'll help you. And so they take their children, and if they have a DNA change, then are they, from that point on, ever qualified for the salvation that Christ wrought for only humanity, because he's our kinsman redeemer. On that cross was a human being. And Christ, I'm sorry about my mouth keeps watering, and for some reason, and I'm drowning in my watery mouth here, and I have to keep swallowing. Well, my health is simply going to get in the way now and then, so put up with it. Sorry, I'm doing my best. Well, Christ's connection with humanity is crucial. In Genesis 3:15, God said to the serpent, the seed of the woman will crush your head, but you'll bruise his heel. Well, that meant Christ is the seed of the woman, which alludes to, if not simply openly says, the seed of the woman is going to be related to Adam and Eve. Okay? Not a hybrid. Not a hybrid. Okay, but a direct, pure descendant. Now, Genesis 6:1-4, when the angel slept with the women, and then followed after a while by the flood of Noah, God flooded the world, the whole world, and killed everyone but Noah and his people anyway, and his 7 passengers on the ark, not because it implies that the world was doing Sodom and Gomorrah type sinning and full of violence, but it was through Enoch, we understand, like the rest of the story, and also a few places in the Bible that I don't have pinned down yet to refer to. But God does tell us here and there and in Enoch why the flood killed, God decided to kill the world with a flood. It was because everybody but Noah and his wife and his 3 sons and their 3 wives were all hybrids. They were a Nephilim. See, not every Nephilim turns out to be a grotesque giant, okay? But everyone besides Noah and his family were Nephilim. And so if everyone would have turned into Nephilim, then through what lineage? Well, that would have ended the lineage of the woman and the seed and the Christ. Christ had to be man, 100% man from the lineage of Adam and Eve. Now, Eve didn't have a baby on her own. And by the way, women don't have seeds. Men do. That was also alluding to the virgin birth of Christ. Okay, women don't have seeds, men do. So the seed of the woman doesn't make sense unless you end up with a virgin birth. And that's another teaching. I'm not going to try to explain it now here. See, theology is like an endless bottom cup of coffee. I mean, I can't get to the bottom of it. Nobody can. And nobody has. Maybe Paul the Apostle or one of the apostles, but nobody wrote in the New Testament and taught and had the best solid doctrines better than Paul the Apostle, because he started off a Pharisee and under Gamaliel. Tangent, can he get back? Pull me back in. Come on. I'm off on a rabbit trail here. So anyway, that's it. I might as well wrap this up. I did get into the pastors. I did want to mention to you, I have not darkened a church door in 6 to 8 years. Well, certainly since those 2 churches up here in northern Pittsburgh shut me down, and they put their people under them, their parish, my Catholic background, parish, their congregation, better still, in jeopardy by not telling them, don't get your kids this vaccine. But see, if they started talking like that, and the government would get a hold of it, the government would say, listen, because it was sacrosanct to touch upon the holy cow called the COVID and the COVID shot, okay? You just kept your mouth shut, and the government would be so very gracious as not to remove your tax-exempt status. See, it comes down to money. Money. Because these yahoos for pastors run out there and they buy buildings and have buildings built that is attached to a big mortgage. That means they got to pay the mortgage. They want to stay pastors in these beautiful, oversized churches, which is a waste. Excuse me. And I itch. This is I touch my nose. It's a hair in my nose that's itching me. That's old guys. See the hair follicles? Well, they leave here and they go here in my ears and in my nose. See, and that's. I wish I could reverse that. I'd rather have hair not coming out of my ears and nose, but back on the top of my head. I can't do that. It's not my prerogative. But yeah, that's what it is, guys and girls. It's my point I'm going to finish up with. Pastors in today's Christian world. It's a business for too many of them. And it has to do with pastors lying to themselves about why they're getting into being a pastor. And then after a while, because they overspend in building, then why they needed that building for God. Oh, it's for God. Well, they get overextended. Now they're compromised. These two churches, especially the, not as much, well, see, Victory Church, I went twice. I might have touched the pastor, maybe I didn't. So I won't claim that I spoke personally to the pastor there. But still, I got interfered with. And I mean, this guy was, I wonder if he was even real, because the kind of block he was giving me, I was getting so angry with him, I wanted to take a poke at him. And that's not like me. And, he's like 6'4". Oh, his name was Kevin. Hi, Kevin. How many babies died? How many babies and people possibly can't be qualified to be saved through Christ's redemption, because they're not fully human, because you wanted to have a pissing contest with me? Huh? Here we are, we're 5-6 years later. How many babies? You too. It's an old CMA church, Christian Missionary Alliance Church, on Route 22, about 5 miles on Route 228. Route 228. About 5 miles from 19, headed towards Route 8. On the left side if you're coming from 19. Now, I talked to some decent, good men there, and they were to take it to the pastor, and I even explained things to him. And the leadership seems to have knocked it down. And I called the office a couple times. I did not pester these people. Don't let them lie. You know what I mean? I know how not to pester people. By the way, as a customer service man for 25 years, out of the 35 years I worked for People's Natural Gas, I evangelized in strangers' homes. I led at least 100 in prayer to receive Christ. And I preached to at least 1,000, including Squirrel Hill, a Jewish neighborhood in Pittsburgh. No one ever called and complained or turned me in, or however you want to phrase it. I know how to handle people. I know what's going on. I'm gifted like that. So don't let either of these church leaderships, from Victory or this other one, say, well, he was a pest. No, it wasn't. And I'm not going to defend myself any more than say, no, don't let him lie. So I've had it up to here, or maybe up to here, with modern churches where young men lie to themselves. Certainly women do, because women are never called to be pastors in America. Maybe one out of one, because if there's a man around, women are not called to be leaders of men. Want to have your female and all women Bible study? Go for it. Be the leader if you want. Don't be a pastor. You're not called. And 1 Timothy says no and gives you the reason. So all these female evangelists and junkers, they start off in sin. And look how Satan's rewarding them. Lots of money. I can hardly remember their names, and I'm not going to go for it now because I never think of them and use them. I just get sick when I run across them to my stomach. So there's something called, if you want a piece of homework, well, no. I'm going to bring this up and let you hear it. 1 second. It's Jeremiah 17:9. See if I can get it audibly for you. What does
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
What does Jeremiah 17:9 say?
Here's what I found.
Okay, I'll just read it to you. I thought they might. The heart is deceitful. Okay, let's see. They're not giving me. I'll just paraphrase it. The heart is wicked desperately wicked and deceitful, who can know? It's a rhetorical question, which says, we lie to ourselves as humans all the time. We rationalize and we lie. Now, how about if you're a young guy and you've been impressed by pastors all your life? How the respect they get. And we all want that, don't we? We all want recognition and respect. But intelligent, good, godly people don't give it any kind of a priority. It would be nice to have like a slightly better pair of boots. Not something we need to serve. If it works out that way, whippy. But these people need it and they seek it. And then as they get into it, everybody starts to pay them extra respect in their social circles because they're a Bible student, they're a seminary student. Now they're a pastor, and everyone calls them pastor. And of course, they'd like that. It can't be Bob or Bill. It's got to be pastor. Well, yeah, okay, to a degree, they've earned it. But it's really Jeremiah 17:9, okay? That the heart is wicked and deceitful, who can know it? They're seeking fortune and fame. They're not seeking to serve God. They hide behind that. And I in my humble opinion, because I don't want to get sued by these jokers, because they're just the type to do it. Because I see if this gets out, it might hurt their bottom line. Frankly, I wish they would get fired, these pastors, and get replaced with people that serve. Their main concern is to serve Christ and strengthen the saints. That's actually my motto. My motto is to preach the gospel and strengthen the saints. And this is strengthening of the saints right here, because I'm finally giving you the truth. And they all have a bit of a pastors, these church leaders, even the good ones, they have sort of an unspoken rule as not to go after each other or to point out their flaws. Well, why the heck not? I mean, if a man is pastor is struggling against pornography secretly in his home, but it's gotten out publicly, support him. But if that pastor is scheming and building an empire for himself, not for God, and is too timid to rock the boat by telling his parishioners, his people, his sheep under him, listen, we need to talk about this. We need to discuss this. And you need to make up your mind. Do you want, with this information that I'll give you, do you want to get the shot, COVID vaccine, and give it to your children? Do you? Well, you got to be informed first. It wouldn't inform. Why wouldn't they inform? Because they could lose their 501c3, which is the formal way of saying their tax exemption. That's a lot of money. A lot of money. Helps make those mortgage payments on that big old church. Okay? That they don't need. And they got to keep that job because, see, they're all hoping to have a pension. So it's money, 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 money. In the church, is it this way with these two churches I mentioned? I will not say any more than I've said. I don't know. I'm actually forced to say that in my own defense, of legal defense. So I don't know. It's a thought. Normally runs through people's brains, Do you wonder why? Why wouldn't you want to warn your congregation about something that's physically deadly, as well as likely to change my child's DNA so he's no longer fully human, even though he looks normal? Oh, who cares? Okay, you get my point. And now I've run, oh my gosh, an hour. I thought it'd be half that. Well, if you get this far, you've already seen it all. But, don't be afraid of any of my videos. to cut it in segments and come back. And because again, I'm not talking to you about, and I'm not preaching and teaching the pablum, the milk, the breast milk, even of theology. You're getting meat. You want to get meat? Can you handle it? You can't handle the truth, they said that. And that happens to be true. Most people can't handle the truth. But here's the meat, okay, for a change. I mean, how many times can you preach a sermon about Israel marching around Jericho and the walls falling? How many times? Okay? It's the same overwarmed up pablum because it's safe. See, the government won't come after you and take away your precious tax exemption known as your 501c3. Look it up. Okay, boys and girls, if you're not saved, if you don't know Christ as your Savior to the point where you've asked Him to save you from your sins in hell, and it's settled because you asked Him, then do that. And if you're confused, hey, I have a comment section. For goodness sake, make some comments. Ask questions. I'll try. And I might start putting my personal email up to make it more convenient, but at least let me see you're interested enough to subscribe. Nothing costs you. You're never going to see a commercial. If this thing takes off, because I only started it 2 weeks ago, if God blesses and I get a bunch of people watching and interacting with me, you still won't see any commercials. Though I hear people can live off them, the money they get for commercials. What I'm talking to you about in serving God is sanctified. It's only God sees to my payments. It sees to my bills. He makes my bills for me. He meets my bills and takes care of me enough financially. I don't need to mix filthy lucre with the precious knowledge, wisdom, and word of God. Someone's got to draw the line. I'm not a hero. I am angry about all this. I'm sorry it comes out a little bit, like right now. I'm angry with these pastors. Now, listen, there are good pastors out there, okay? But the pressure on them can change them. They're just people like you. Don't get all angry at every pastor, modern American pastor, okay? Their intentions might be good, or like Jeremiah 17:9, they're just kidding themselves. Well, their motives are really filthy lucre and prestige, pride. One last thing I wanted to say. I've already run over. Crazy limit here. If I could break this in 2 parts, I would. And I'll look into that. Right now you're stuck at 54 minutes, or 64 minutes. Sorry. In a way. I don't want to give you big pieces like this. But there's just so much I want to share with you. There's tons left, guys. Some of it will become repetition because that's how we learn. The average person learns by hearing it at least a couple of times and then reminded periodically, because we will forget. And there's that we don't even understand the first time we heard it, like we need to understand it. That's where repetition comes in. Okay, come to Christ. Be blessed. I can't think of anything else, and I won't hold you up anymore. We need to talk more about the COVID. I might do that a little later. Right now it's 5:25 in Pittsburgh p.m. on the 27th. God bless you. See you soon.